In the heart of Washington, D.C., a federal building loomed, its imposing structure a symbol of authority and power. Yet, within its walls, a battle was brewing, one that would challenge the very foundations of its security protocols and expose deep-seated biases. Security Officer Greg Thompson, a man with over a decade of service, stood at the entrance, his eyes scanning the crowd. He prided himself on his ability to identify those who didn't belong. Today, however, his judgment would be put to the ultimate test. As the clock struck 8:47 a.m., a well-dressed woman approached the entrance. Her name was Alina Davis, the newly appointed director of the FBI. Dressed in a charcoal suit and a navy blouse, she exuded confidence and authority. But to Thompson, she was just another outsider. ID and purpose of visit, he demanded, his tone dismissive. Alina handed over her identification, but Thompson barely glanced at it before tossing it aside. You need to leave. This is a secure facility. Alina's expression remained unreadable as she bent down to retrieve her ID. Do you know who I am? She asked, her voice steady and calm. Thompson laughed, a harsh sound that echoed in the lobby. Just another nobody trying to be somebody. Little did he know, Alina was about to turn his world upside down as Alina stepped into the building. She felt the weight of the moment. This wasn't just a routine visit. It was a chance to observe the inner workings of the FBI without the usual pretense of authority. She had heard whispers of discrimination within the ranks, and today, she intended to witness it firsthand. Thompson's eyes narrowed as he watched her. What's your business here? He pressed, his suspicion palpable. I have an appointment, Alina replied, her tone unwavering. Who with? Thompson challenged, reaching for the desk phone. He deliberately misspelled her name as he called, his voice dripping with condescension. No Alina Davis on today's list, he announced after a brief conversation. Check again, Alina suggested, her voice calm. Perhaps under Director Davis. Thompson's laughter was quick and mocking. You need to leave now, or I'll have you removed for trespassing. Alina stood her ground. I'm not leaving. I have legitimate business here. Thompson stepped closer, invading her personal space. I'm calling backup to remove you from premises. Alina's heart raced, but she remained composed. You're making a mistake, she warned, her voice low but firm as Thompson reached for his radio. Alina seized the moment. She discreetly texted her executive assistant, XRY, a pre-established protocol for emergencies. Across town, her message triggered a series of actions that would soon unfold. Moments later, Thompson returned, his demeanor shifting as he gestured for Alina to follow him into a small, windowless security office. Phone, he demanded, his palm outstretched. Alina surrendered her device, knowing she had already sent what was necessary. Thompson locked it away, his smile revealing a false sense of security. People who don't belong disappear all the time in our system, he said, leaning against the desk. No one would even look for someone like you. Alina's gaze hardened. Officer Thompson, you're about to learn a lesson in accountability. As Thompson continued to belittle her, Alina's mind raced. She was documenting every violation, every instance of discrimination. The security camera in the corner captured their exchange, and she positioned herself in its view, ready to expose the truth. Officer Thompson has threatened that people who don't belong disappear all the time, she stated clearly, her voice steady. He further stated, no one would even look for someone like you. The door swung open, and Officer Reynolds entered, his expression uncertain. Any updates on the verification? He asked, avoiding eye contact with Alina. Still processing, Thompson replied tersely. Why don't you monitor the east entrance? Reynolds hesitated, sensing the tension. Maybe we should just let her go with a warning. It's been over an hour. Are you questioning my judgment? Thompson's voice rose, a calculated move to assert dominance, as the situation escalated. Alina remained calm, her eyes scanning the room for potential allies. She knew she had to play the long game. Suddenly, the door opened again, and a man in a crisp suit entered. Assistant Director Harrison. I believe you're about to meet the FBI director, he announced. His presence commanding. Thompson's face paled as he realized the gravity of his mistake. Sir, I've detained a woman attempting to infiltrate your facility, he stammered. Harrison stepped aside, revealing Alina. Director Davis, On behalf of the Philadelphia field office, I deeply apologize for this unfortunate reception. The room fell silent as the reality of Thompson's actions sank in. Alina rose, accepting Harrison's assistance with quiet dignity. "Thank you, Deputy Director," she said, her voice steady as the investigation unfolded. Thompson's past began to unravel. Alina's documentation of his discriminatory practices became the foundation for a larger inquiry into systemic bias within federal security. The evidence was overwhelming. Complaints buried, witnesses intimidated, and a culture of discrimination that had festered for years. In the days that followed, Thompson found himself isolated. His colleagues distanced themselves, and the weight of his actions bore down on him. The FBI's internal investigation revealed a pattern of abuse, and Thompson's career crumbled under the scrutiny. As Alina testified before Congress, she spoke not just for herself but for all those who had been silenced. "This isn't just about one bad apple," she asserted. "It's about a system that allowed this behavior to thrive." The resulting legislation transformed federal security protocols, mandating transparency and accountability. Thompson's name became synonymous with abuse of power, a cautionary tale for those who would follow in his footsteps. Months later, as Alina walked through the newly redesigned FBI field office, she felt a sense of pride. The atmosphere had shifted. Diversity and inclusion were now at the forefront. Visitors were treated with respect, regardless of their background. In a dimly lit warehouse, Thompson patrolled as a night watchman, the only job his tarnished record could secure. He watched the news, his legacy reduced to a scandal that would haunt him for years to come. As Alina passed through security, she smiled at the young officer who greeted her with the same professional courtesy extended to every visitor. The battle had been won, but the fight for justice continued. True power, Alina realized, wasn't about making others disappear. It was about ensuring everyone was finally seen. In the months that followed, the FBI implemented sweeping reforms. Alina led initiatives to ensure that every visitor, regardless of their background, received equal treatment. Training programs were established to educate security personnel on implicit bias and the importance of diversity. Meanwhile, Thompson's life spiraled downward, his reputation shattered. He struggled to find work, facing rejection at every turn. The once proud officer became a cautionary tale, a reminder of the consequences of unchecked power and prejudice. As Alina continued her work, she remained vigilant, knowing that the fight for justice was ongoing. She understood that true change required constant effort and dedication. With each passing day, she felt a renewed sense of purpose, determined to create a world where everyone was seen and valued. In the end, Alina's journey was not just about her own triumph, but about the countless voices that had been silenced. She had become a beacon of hope, proving that one person could make a difference in the fight against injustice. And as she walked the halls of the FBI, she knew that the battle for equality was far from over, but she was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead.